Good morning and welcome to episode 12 of the Bob and Kevin Show. On today's episode, we'll cover all the headlines that matter to us in our On the Clock segment, and we'll have our internet famous YouTube quiz, and we might just take a deeper look into this whole artificial intelligence craze. It's Monday, February 19th, not September, so strap in and hold on because it's about to go down.
All right, well done, Bob. So nice dig on yourself there for the not September.
Yeah, anybody who watched last 2 weeks ago, apparently I was reading it. I had a Ron Burgundy moment apparently, and just read September, even though it said February 5th. So
at least your Ron Burgundy moment didn't insult an entire metro area. So
stay classy, San Diego.
So how was your weekend?
Oh boy, it was just filled with kid activities. I think spent the entire day on Saturday at a track meet. And I couldn't even tell you what I did yesterday. Did some yoga yesterday and pre-show. That's pretty much it.
Yoga and pre-show. Very good. I got back from a family vacation and went to the old Mouse House down in Orlando, Florida. My wallet is no longer a burden to me. Thank you, Walt Disney Corporation, for holding all the contents for me forever. And
that makes you a shareholder now, right? Are you now a shareholder in Disney?
No, I'm not. I didn't get any stock options, nothing. They're just like, yeah. So I do have some videos I'm putting together. Do you already have one out the door?
I saw that one. Very nice. Very nicely done. Your kid is a natural.
Yes, Jackson is natural. So I now have two kids who are into the whole streaming. Oh, I guess one's into streaming, one's into social media and offline video making. And yeah, so anyway, Disney World, got some sketches in already. I was like, man, I need to get back to my iPad to sketch. I regret not taking it with me, to be honest. So.
Oh, you didn't even take it?
I did not. So.
Wow, I am actually shocked.
Yeah, well, I meant to do full-time, just with the family, but it turns out, when you get back from Magic Kingdom and everyone's passed out already and I'm kind of bored, you flick through Twitter and like, ooh, something witty came to my mind and I want to draw. Oh, well, let me write it down, and by the time I get home, it's probably not funny anymore. So
you didn't do any old-timey, like, paper and pen sketches while you were there?
I didn't have said pen or paper, so no. We had about everything else. We had a condo. I'd recommend doing a condo in Florida. Airbnb for the win.
Was it on campus or was it outside the park?
It was about 10 minutes from Hollywood Studios, and then Magic Kingdom's a little, like, 5 more minutes down the road. So it was uber close. And not that kind of Uber, but it was very Uber or very close.
Damn, Uber for stealing that word from our vocabulary.
Yes. Yeah, I had a blast. I'm drained a little bit, so I need a vacation from the vacation as usual. So today's President's Day here in America, isn't it?
Not my President's Day? Yes.
Yes. Yes. And for those wondering, Donald J. Trump is at Magic Kingdom Hall of Presidents as an animatronic already. So there is no, is it MAGA or MAGA hat? But he's there. And what was interesting is my kids, both, my 5-year-old, she's like, oh, that's Donald Trump. I'm like, you're a kindergartner, That's quite interesting that you're, like, that aware of.
That makes me weep.
So, all right. That was a long-winded intro. Anything else, Bob, before we get into these headlines here?
Let me just stretch a little bit before we dive right into this, because this is quite the event. Here we go.
Okay, while I'm trying to put us on the clock, Bob, why don't you tell us a little bit about what's going on with these charts?
We'll call this the Crypto Minute. Basically, cryptocurrency is having a little bit of a resurgence here in the last week. Numbers have been looking better after some of the dismal numbers from the months past. And so if you got in on this downslide, you might be enjoying some quick little green lines, green arrows in your wallet. So good on you.
All right.
Ooh, and we are on the clock.
We're on the clock. All right. So we've got Chrome is going to update, and a lot of us saw this coming, basically. If you don't have HTTPS, you are going to be labeled as not secure. I think this is great. What do you think, Bob?
I think it's great. I'm also very grateful that we have until July because, there's some of us have a lot of sites to get moved over to this. Big questions for me is, if a $15 certificate or a free certificate can get it done, then why isn't it just part of the infrastructure, period?
Yes.
Why does it have to be customer responsibility?
Kind of the larger.
You didn't see that one coming, did you?
I didn't, because the private key needs to be held privately by the organization. Because a PKI, or public key infrastructure setup, is you have a public key and a private key, and you don't want anyone but the owner of the website or the other distant end to have anything. Nobody can have that private key. So Google can't have that private key. So the public key.
But a third party is going to have it, though. I mean, if you go to a third party SSL generation site, generate the key, that key exists somewhere for them too, right?
But no, they should not have a copy of it. Here's your copy, and you have the only one, and they can verify. That there's a trust system in place. Wow, you totally threw me a curveball this one. Okay, no, I wouldn't advocate that. The just is HTTPS because I'm pretty sure there's some technical issues there. However, I would say that I would never, ever, ever, ever willingly have a non-SSL site, if at all possible, because we got Let's Encrypt, which is free. We've got Cloudflare, which has free aspects to it, and we have, you can just go buy the frickin' thing for $10 off of your, drive-by thing. Okay, next topic.
We're going to come back to this one at a later date.
Falcon Heavy backlash. Good thing you have that buzzer because I would have just kept going. So, all right, if you are like, oh, why are we sending cars into space and spending all this money? I hate you. Okay, Bob, over to you.
So interesting thing. I thought the article was going to be about all that ridiculousness that I saw on Twitter, just kind of like the space hating or like, remember the good old days or cars have already been in space. But this article actually covered more of this general like disdain for Musk and, the Bezos type people out there that might have companies that have bad reputations with their employees and how that stuff spills into the actual gratifying or not gratifying, but the stuff that moves society along, like space travel and, better production overall. Sorry, went too long here.
Nope, it's all good. I visited Epcot, Disney, so, this futuristic thing, I'm all about it. So I love space travel. All right, moving on here.
Speaking of futuristic things that we don't necessarily maybe like.
So Boston Dynamics, and I'm learning who Boston Dynamics is recently, but there's this creepy video here where it's basically shades of the T-Rex from Jurassic Park, and they work together, and they're going to open this door, and it freaks me the heck out. And so this is cool, but it's,
it's creepy as hell. It's not cool.
Okay. I think we'll talk a little more about this, but AI, what is AI? So it's a scary thing. So
it's like, hey, buddy, I just opened the door for you. All right, let's go kill the humans.
Yes, while they sleep. Yeah, it is quite scary. But Bob, you and I are going to pull out, I think, at least this topic and talk about in the end, artificial intelligence in general. What makes artificial intelligence? Is it even possible? Ooh, we could talk all kinds of
I could go for days.
Things here.
So on an uplifting note, well, maybe uplifting. So Germany is joining a list of countries that will not use autonomous weapons. Now, 23 countries in total have signed this petition or agreement. So that means there's only 170 left to go, apparently. And the great scary news is Russia wants to actually have the deadliest robots of all. So they are obviously not signing up to be on this. And the U.S., in typical U.S. fashion, is incredibly vague. Kevin.
So kids in the 80s, were like, nuclear weapons and non-proliferation, treaties come out. And you're right. I think Russia sounds like they just want to be top dog in all of this. And autonomous weapons, fun, no morals, no ethics, just
killing machines.
Efficiency in killing.
So the campaign is actually the campaign to stop killer robots. So like you really can't make that shit up. Really, the campaign to stop killer robots.
All right. So, oh snap. we have a technical problem there. Okay, so does artificial intelligence truly work like the human brain? Is the headline there? And again, you can kind of sense our
Theme.
AI theme here, and I would
This is
like.
actually a really cool article. It started out talking about how there's been a long history, and you and I were actually just talking about this before the show, of replicating human function. And so it starts off talking about this mechanical duck that was supposed to replicate the digestive process. And so then it dovetailed into how AI is supposed to be replicating the human thought process, and how that, like, because really there's there's quote unquote digestion that's going on there, but it's really not digesting it because there's no exchange of nutrients, all that good stuff. So it really begs the question from the AI standpoint, can it really replicate human thought?
And just a quick reminder, Westworld season 2 in April. Okay. So, yeah, is this just a body and not a body and a soul, which is what, humans tend to be? You've got the host, and then you've got the substance wherever that exists, maybe in the brain, maybe it's in my heel, or, who knows what. But yeah, more on this.
Yes, putting a pin in this for sure.
Yes. All right. So we've got SpaceX is going to launch satellite prototypes this weekend, except there was a delay. So it's actually going to be on Wednesday. And they're going to put up about 4,000 satellites over 5 years. I think it's going to cost around $10 million. And the hope here is that basically the internet is available to all everywhere.
But 10 billion, like, really, in the grand scheme of things, for what they're trying to do, that's super cheap, right?
It is, until you realize that the satellites only have a shelf life of 5 years, 5 to 10. So they're going to be constantly recycling these, and that's going to create a lot of freaking space junk.
I was like, what happens when they die in 5 years? Do they just continue to orbit until it degrades and they burn up, or what?
I believe so. I would have to. So the U.S. Air Force runs the American satellites, and they track all these. So I'm pretty sure SpaceX has to, check in with those guys and have some sort of plan. And I'm sure it was a very thrilling PowerPoint presentation. I've seen as high as 11,000 satellites. So I don't want to. Not reporting that as official, but I saw some other articles which I couldn't find prior to show.
I feel like I saw it in the ticker when we were doing pre-show yesterday too.
Yeah, so space junk. So I'm sure there'll be a lot of haters, but I don't want a bunch of space junk up there either. The whole global internet thing is great, but how much will it cost? Will it be free? Is it a global good? What is it?
No. It actually says in the article that it's costing so much to put these in space, but he's expecting a hefty return. Because people are going to have to rent those.
All right, I'm going to push the shock button on Bob for talking over. All right,
sorry.
Here, I'm going to slap you with my fake hand. Okay, now I'm burning more time. Okay, Skype has some sort of flaw where basically a DLL on the file system can really screw you over.
Yeah. So basically, yay, Microsoft. So the funny thing about the article is the updates. So originally it was said that the attacker had to have physical access to the system to exploit it. But then it turns out, no, they just actually have to have access to the file system. So that could be gained through all kinds of different access points. So I think the net is it's a bad enough flaw that they have to rebuild Skype from the ground up.
And totally unrelated, I read a article by Troy Hunt on why do hackers always get fictionalized as some white dude with a hoodie?
Yeah, I feel like some pretty rough stereotyping.
Because a hacker, what does a hacker look like? A hacker is, it could be me, it could be you, it doesngoing it's just this weird thing. So anyway, people who put malicious code around, it's going to happen all over. Anyway. Point is Skype is going to get rebuilt apparently for Windows. I don't use Skype. Sorry, I know a lot of people do, especially in Europe, but whatever.
Whatever.
iMessage not received.
Speaking of bugs, this one feels very familiar. And actually, the article references that was 2015 when you could send a couple characters and crash someone's iPhone. Now, apparently, very similarly, you can send one character, and I believe it is in an Indian script or whatever it is. I I might be misquoting that, but basically you can send a couple of characters or a single character and crash the messaging system and other third-party apps as well.
Yeah, so this isn't just like a iMessage problem. This is like a operating system level problem. And the good news, it doesn't do this to your screen. What does this to your screen is just normal use when you accidentally drop it, and whatnot. So you don't have to worry about the bug making your screen do this. But
as a nasty bug.
Yeah, deja vu. We've already had this problem. Come on, guys. Look through your code base. Sorry, got billions of dollars. Thanks. Have a nice day. More Apple hate coming.
More Apple hate coming up.
And right now, the $349 Apple HomePod is a waste of money for most, and I couldn't agree more. Bob.
I am a Sonos user, and so this is a product that feels like it's coming way too late to the game and really trying to step on toes that have already been well established. Yes, Apple has beautiful hardware. Yes, sound is going to be important to them, but there's been some side-by-side tests, and people are actually preferring the Sonos sound quality as well. So, yay, Sonos.
So let me ask this question: is there a Microsoft speaker offering yet?
No, I'm sure there will be.
Isn't that poetic? They're latest to the party again. Apple's really late, but Microsoft's not even there. But here's a feature that you didn't know you got with the HomePod. Oh my gosh.
So now, full disclosure, it is true that the Sonos players actually are doing that as well. There's a rubber ring that's pretty common with these pieces of electronics, and the weight of the speakers themselves combined with that rubber ring, I think it actually is taking moisture out of the wood. The rubber, I think, is what probably causes that. But Sonos has a similar issue. I just thought it was funny that, the HomePod is so expensive and it does crap like that. But you can get a coaster.
And infinite loop here. What would happen if you took the Apple HomePod, the Echo, and the Google Home and just kind of made them call each other through voice commands? Is that right, Bob?
Yeah. So what they did is they set up appointment reminders where each one of them would invoke the voice or the other assistant on a set schedule. And so these are actually just running at the what is that? It's the TechCrunch. Is that who's got this?
It's CNET.
CNET. Sorry, CNET.
Sorry, CNET.
CNET is They have the 3 devices. It's so funny they went with the 2 high ends and then they just have the dot.
Yeah, where's the Echo, right? So.
Yeah.
All right, and you're still an Alexa house, right?
I am. Yes, thanks. Good thing I'm wearing headphones because she didn't hear it then.
Same here.
So I'm Alexa everywhere. Oh, damn it. You tricked me. I'm probably going to be picking up Sonos One is the fully integrated. So you can do it via software, but Sonos has actually got a speaker line that has the Home Assistant built in. So.
Yeah, I really like my Echo. When I'm not talking to you, I'm jamming out here to sounds of the 80s. All right. Zuck needs Facebooks. So, yeah, we have fun making headlines. So, it looks like Zuckerberg is going to sell billions of dollars of Facebook stock this year. Is this business as usual? Because I'm not a business person. Or is this a sign of something, Bob?
I really hoped it was going to be something that had to do with Facebook, but it really has something to do more with the foundation that he and his wife have established. It's a charitable foundation. And so he had a plan in place to sell off stock to fully fund this philanthropic venture. And he's basically just accelerated that timetable to get the philanthropic fully funded as quickly as possible.
And if the under and over, or whatever you're under over for how rich Zuckerberg is, the line is $72 billion, and that's his current net worth. Holy crap.
And his buddy Jeff is worth more than that, right?
Once you get beyond like a few $100, I stop. You're like, out of my league. So whatever. All right. So, Belgian waffles on Facebook privacy. Almost messed that up.
Belgians waffle.
I did mess that up. Okay. Sorry for the little pun there, friends from Belgium. But I'm actually kind of happy that Belgium's taking a stand and saying, hey, Facebook, you guys are being D-bags. Can you knock that stuff off?
Oh, he kept it PG. Nice job.
Yeah.
I'm not good. So basically tracking cookies strike again. And apparently this is so interesting because Google Analytics can use tracking cookies to go all over the place. And Facebook has that capability, but they can't collect that third-party data, or some countries have decided that that's not cool. So
So it looks like the fine for ignoring any sort of court action here is 250,000 euros per day.
Oof.
So
Up
maybe,
to up to 100 million.
which is apparently 2 shares of Facebook stock. All right, Intel currently facing class action lawsuit. Boo! Intel to meltdown. So
Oh, we did get slap happy when we were writing these headlines.
that's right. So this is more of this just won't go away. And, what does it look like? Will we all get like a $2 off your next CPU purchase coupon?
I don't know. Is it like 30? Is it 30 class action lawsuits? Is that what I saw? 32?
32.
Yeah.
Okay. All right.
So it's not going away.
Not going away anytime soon. Now, this one's cool. You're going to have to tell me about this one because I didn't read this article.
So Magic Leap is an augmented reality company, or at least that's how they started. They've been teasing this new headset. So it's not necessarily augmented reality. It's a whole bunch of stuff going on there, and it's just been, they've been accused of vaporware and all that kind of stuff. But their headset is coming soon. We don't know how much. They said some people might be able to afford it. It's coming in different sizes, so it is not a one-size-fits-all piece of hardware. And the interesting thing is that there was some video footage of Shaquille O'Neal actually wearing it, and so it goes up big enough to fit his giant head.
Nice. Now, these guys did I think you told me, the Minority Report style interface.
Yeah, I think they started with they started with the projected light navigation, like being able to control your GUI for your machine, through the air, basically a keyboard in the air, mouse in the air. I think that's how they got started, and then they went to the lens, the augmented reality lenses.
Awesome. All right. So, interesting. I'm not really, just still not into VR or this virtualized stuff. I still like tangible physical stuff. I'm turning into get off my lawn guy. I'm sorry.
It's because we're getting old.
Dang it. Okay. So
darn kids, technology, get off my lawn.
Speaking of kids and technology, Bob, that was a perfect segue to Silicon Valley to raise kids with stone tablets. Apparently, Android and iOS tablets ain't good enough.
Yeah, so this is kind of an echo back to our Wait for 8 segment that we did a few months ago. And this is basically just talking about how the interesting dynamic where it's a community that's heavily involved in technology and a bunch of technology workers and raising their kids in a relatively technology-free environment. And what kind of red flags does that raise for the rest of us regular people who aren't working in the Valley, basically?
Yeah, so I embrace technology. I have my kids embrace technology. It's totally a personal choice, family to family. I mean, if I were an artist and I didn't want my kids to learn art because of some negative things in art, I don't know. I'm trying to draw parallels here. Why are we picking on technology? I think it's the future, and I've always been around it, so I don't know.
Well, I think that there's a lot of research out there that shows if you're not in control of your technology usage habits, there's some negative consequences. But I think the biggest thing is that you have to raise, and this is something that comes up in our house all the time, you have to raise your kids to be responsible with that technology. You can't just let them run wild with it or they will have problems. You have to teach them the boundaries and teach them how to make the best use of it.
Yes. And that was today's tech headlines. And I think we're going to take the opportunity now to segue to our shameless self-promotion here real quick. Subscribe now. And, we both got it right first time.
I practiced.
Click the button down there to please subscribe. This should be an Olympic event. Pointing where your subscribe button is, getting it right. And let's do it in synchronous. There we go. Okay. All right. I'm making this way too hard. Push the ding button, and you'll get all the updates. Right, Bob?
Yeah, if you dig the headlines and the way that we kind of treat them, a little bit tongue-in-cheek, but trying to get the facts out there and share a little bit of our take on it. If you dig that, hit that bell.
All right. You know what time it is, Bob, don't you?
Yes, and since I was poking fun at you yesterday, I'm going to pay for this one.
You might indeed pay dearly for this one. Okay, so I think you'll do all right. So I don't know if you have known me long enough yet, Bob, to know that I am full of useless pop culture information. I was telling my children and my wife that, you know what, because I'm doing an internet show, my useless information is becoming more useful. I'm finding a use for it, so it's less useless
No,
information.
I'm in trouble already, I can tell.
So today's topic
That's
is
pretty broad. Useless tech information.
no. Today's topic is fictional artificial intelligence. So you may do well on this one.
I'm going to go with max headroom for the first answer.
You would be wrong. So, first question:
What as deep as I go?
And you may get this if you follow me on Twitter. So, which I'm pretty sure you do. What was the name of the company that created Skynet in the Terminator movies? You can't look on Twitter. I see them eyes searching.
No, those eyes are thinking. Shoot. I thought Skynet was the company. No, Skynet was the
All right. We need
something industries.
No, it was Cyberdyne Systems, Bob.
Cyberdyne Systems.
Maybe we need like a 10-second clock for these. Okay. All right. So 0 for 1. Yes. My goal this week is to make you go 0 for 3.
I think I just lost a lot of nerd cred with that one.
I'm out for blood. Okay. What was the name of the supercomputer in the movie War Games?
Joshua.
It was not. Though, very good, because Joshua was the name of the kid of the inventor of the supercomputer.
What was the name of the computer?
And that was the password, by the way. Joshua was the password. The name was Whopper. WOPR.
Oh,
Whopper.
That's right.
And no, you have a crappy sidekick here. No, I didn't look up what the acronym means, but whatever, it's the Whopper. All right, 0 for 2. Let me flex over here. Okay, so we got one more, and I think you get it. I believe this is a Stanley Kubrick movie. What was the name of the computer from 2001: A Space Odyssey?
Was that the HAL 9000?
Very good. You know, we need like a affirmation sound.
And we need a soundboard.
Yes. Okay, very good. All right, so you're 1 for 3. Good job, Bob. Sorry, I hope I wasn't too rough on you. Oops.
Nope, that was a good one.
Okay, and so I want to switch over to artificial intelligence, if I can. So I was watching Neil deGrasse Tyson last night on Star Talk, and it was season 4 episode. I don't know, it was like the 3rd or 4th episode.
Oh, so that's what you were watching.
That's what I was watching, and they had some Boston Dynamics guy on there, and tell me how creepy. So they do like an abuse test. And so, this is like the, they're bullying the robot, and you can find this on YouTube. And this is Boston Dynamics. Sorry that the logo is obscured there, but they basically want to abuse robots and see how they react. And this has changed kind of how. This was the good one. This one kind of it changes my thoughts and perspectives on this sort of thing, because let's define artificial intelligence, and in some of our witty pre-show banter, we like to talk about what is artificial intelligence, what isn't artificial intelligence, and turns out there's a fork. There's 2 schools of thought. I did not know that there was 2 schools of thought.
I did not either. School
of thought 1 is basically everything is instructions. It's what you and I kind of talk about. It is basically if then else switch statements and things like that. And to me, that isn't true AI in the sense of AI. That is
right, because that robot getting up, that's not artificial intelligence. It knows if it goes horizontal that it has to run a set of commands to get itself back upright. Right.
That is correct. However, so that's if they've chosen the path of if then else, if this, do this. What they also do is they cut the leg off of one. That's part of the abuse test, and it's like, oh.
Well, then what does it do? Does it put it back on?
It does. It does get back up, and it does limp around. And so they never taught it that. So that's creepy. And so the other school of thought is statistical analysis, which I believe has the moniker of machine learning. So what's the difference between, what is machine learning? Neil deGrasse Tyson asked, because I was curious too. I've heard it, but I'm kind of like, oh yeah, it's some Microsoft or insert corporation here's new way to charge you a bunch of money for a database lookup. So, that's what I was thinking. But apparently, machine learning is, if I put you in a room and I program you a hard goal, and you're a robot, by the way, a hard goal of find the door and leave. And I've only taught you how to test, very limited things. So what a robot may do is it may walk until it hits a wall. And when it hits a wall, it's got a negative feedback. Goes, well, you know what? When I walk this way, I hit a wall. Let me remember that. All right, let me try something else.
Is it putting in coordinates and creating the visual representation of the room in its quote unquote mind?
Right. So think Roomba at this point, right? So eventually, well, if I run into the wall, remember that I ran into the wall. There's a boundary there. Remember that, and so on and so forth. So you can give it the ability to learn how to map a room and go, okay, now that I've mapped a room, I now know where the door is because I've been able to successfully leave that. And so over time, this robot will know where it's at and be able to go into the room and not run into the wall like an idiot. Like if it were a human, be like, why are you running into the wall, dude? Stuff like that. So machine learning is interesting because it's less about specifics and more about abstraction, whereas instruction-based ones is absolutely do this. This is your algorithm, so it's algorithm-based.
Right. So, but let's go back to the two dog-looking ones, the one that didn't have the door opening thing and the one that did have the door opening thing. So are we supposed to look at this video and assume that the dog that couldn't open the door was like, oh, shit, I don't have the arm thing, but hey, buddy, sending signals to the other robot. Like, are we supposed to think that he's calling that robot right now?
Yes, I believe that's so. What you can do is rather than just teach, a robot, well, go find a boundary. That's just one skill that you can teach it. So if you teach a robot, find your boundaries, and then you teach it how to communicate with other robots, you could potentially, call in, say, well, I can't do this, but I know what you can do. Can you do this for me? And once you start basically creating a internetworking of robots, at what point, so for me, artificial intelligence, and I'm meandering here, is always like the unattainable goal. It's a paradox, it's where the closer you get to it, the farther, you'll never get there because...
Right, rule of half, you'll never quite get there.
Right, so to be a sentient being, is that what true AI is?
I don't think I need them to get that far. Like, for me, like the fear factor for me, or not the fear, the concern factor for me is they only have to get not even 2/3 of the way there. If we've got little dog monkeys telling each other hey, I need you to open the door, that's getting pretty close.
and go kill humans, once it, if Russia or even I'll say, what if the United States, even creates these things, hey, we created this death machine and it left the inventory room and we're not real sure where it went. And yeah. Anyway.
Did you see the opening ceremonies for the Olympics?
I did not.
So they did this cool thing in the sky with drones that were synchronized in flight patterns.
I did see the video though of that.
And they had lights and they were able to form shapes and stuff. All right. So then dovetail that into, did you see the Black Mirror episode with the bees?
I didn't. So now I've got something to do, Bob. Thanks
right.
a lot.
But there's a very similar patterned flight thing, and the line was, oh yeah, these are completely under our control. Look, we can make them fly in the shape of our logo constantly. But then that's just patterns. So if someone can program those patterns, or the machines can learn those patterns, then all of a sudden you stamp that out. It's not just a pattern for getting a task done, like opening the door or moving something through the assembly process. Those patterns are, could be tools and weapons as well.
Think about the so talking, communicating, or I guess those are the same thing, opening a door, those are all skills and teachable patterns. What if the pattern you can give a robot is the pattern of teaching and learning patterns? So it's kind of like this, nested inception, recursive thing, can something eventually become self? So let me ask you this: is it possible for a robot to ever become sentient, and, like self-aware, and become, for lack of a better term, a voter, with full rights?
Well, Sophia says that it is self-aware.
Do you believe it though?
I can't tell if it's scripted or not. I can't. I mean, I don't know. I guess I need to research more into it. But I think that we're supposed to understand as a species that she thinks, therefore she is. It's kind of how she looks at it herself.
Every Sophie video, or is it Sophie or Sophia?
I think it's Sophia.
Every Sophia video I watch, it looks like it's a scripted interaction. Like the human will say something, he waits, he knows exactly what she's going to say, she says it, and then he continues on. Everyone chuckles in the room. Oh, that was so cute. Oh, the robot made a joke. And then, what would be really weird is if she got up and like punched him in the face. So like, oh, that was off script. Then you got me. Then I'm like, okay, where's my popcorn? Let me tune in. I've just got robot hands hanging around here in the house. So, weird.
But she did go off script once.
Did she?
And she made some off-color joke about robots and taking over. And that was a problem.
Yeah, but did she? So will we ever know, unless you're on the engineering team, to go, did she go off script, or did Phil down in, user experience throw that one in there and she randomly selected? We don't know, right?
All right, for next week this week I'm going to study Hanson Robotics a little more, and I will report back.
All right. Speaking of this weekend, now's a great time to promote something that we're going to do. So I think we're going to do a little bit of artificial intelligence this weekend, Bob. And
perfect segue.
And unfortunately, it will be more of the algorithm type and less of it won't be machine learning. And we're going to call it Code Kata with Bob and Kevin. And essentially what we're going to do is, I started a thread of discussion about tic-tac-toe. Hey, can you pit two algorithms together and will you always tie? And I learned a lot about it. Apparently there are certain games that are, yes, if you play it perfectly, the outcome is always a tie. Ravi, one of our show friends, he knew it, and he's like, yeah, we've all seen War Games, Kevin, haven't you? I'm like, yeah, I have, but I guess I never connected that. And our friend from Norway, Lars, he went ahead and he's like, let me throw some time in that because I'm curious too. So this weekend we are going to do, I believe, tentatively, definitely maybe, a live stream on Saturday. We're basically going to go from a blank screen, like not even creating a new project, blank screen, whiteboard out the game of tic-tac-toe using C# and create our own algorithm-based AI. And we're going to play human versus human. We're going to do AI versus human. Or we're going to do AI versus AI. And if we do our job right and the AI plays AI, they should always end in a tie. And if the only way for anyone to win is if a human player is involved and they make a mistake. So
right. That is a mistake-based learning game, yes.
So we are, that is what we're going to try to do this weekend. So here's your teaser promo, and we're going to go, it might be I'm guesstimating it's going to be a 3-hour, hopefully not 4 hours or longer live stream.
I'm there for comic relief.
Speaking of relief, we gotta figure out how to use how to get some bio breaks in there. We're gonna do pair programming. I think we're gonna use some sort of Git repository to push, to each other, and we can work in parallel. And I think I'm gonna be teaching Bob some new tricks, and I'm assuming he's gonna be teaching me some tricks along the way. And
probably not.
And both of us, as teachers to the other person, will probably learn a lot about ourselves, the process, and whatnot. So that is our teaser for the weekend. So
that was a great one.
Yeah. What else, Bob? You got any further thoughts on AI right now? I mean, I'm excited, scared, and terrified. I guess that's two negatives. Let me throw another positive. Curious. There.
Curious is a good place to start. Nope,
Yeah.
I'll do some homework for next week. We'll touch on this a little bit, maybe in the intro, and then we'll see where next week's headlines take us.
All right. So one last plea. There we go. For subscribers, why are subscribers important to us, Bob?
Subscribers are important to us because it just lets us know that people out there are vibing with what we're putting down.
That's right. Picking up what we're putting down. And
Picking up what we're putting down.
so YouTube's changed up their monetization. We don't monetize the show at this time. I have my own personal channel, which will be demonetized soon because I also need some subscribers. I'm 70% away as far as number of subscribers. But, you know, we would like to grow the show. We really don't need to monetize yet, but we would like to because we get to do like stickers and, you know,
It's a good goal to have for sure.
we
It's a
can
good
buy useless show props and things like that. So, yeah. So I think that's all I got, Bob.
help spread the word. Somebody will like us.
All right, and I think we're down to that famous saying, Bob.
Let's bring the lightning.